They're gone. Assault pack destroyed.
I'm blind.
Ruin kill. They're late.
Oh my god!
Ruin
I'm
down.
still going. Alright boys, I hope you enjoyed that first little clip there. That was play of the game. It was from the private Black Ops 4 beta. I was using the 9 AUG millimeter. I wanted to test it out before the beta ended. So we're here. Today's the day. We're officially at my official multiplayer review for Black Ops 4. Just want to throw a little side note in here. The gameplay you're seeing right now is the MOG 12, both Long Barrel and Long Barrel 2 in the Black Ops 4 private beta. And let me tell you, once you get both these attachments, it works phenomenally. It is amazing. Great gun. Can't wait to show more gameplay off of it. Can't wait to get this thing gold. Alright. So, to start off, I would like to say there's a couple changes here to Call of Duty. Obviously, we went back to specialists. Specialists don't perform the same as they did in Black Ops 3 or even Infinite Warfare. Instead of having to choose either a passive specialist ability or a aggressive specialist weapon, you have both regardless. The weapon is always usually the higher charging item, if you will. If you look at my screen right now, it's that little middle hexagon. And the R1, which would normally be like your tactical or your grenade or in any other Call of Duty, is your specialist ability. Specialist abilities can be things like grenades. They can be like flashbangs, or in this case, a 9-bang. It could be a Semtex with other Semtex stuck to it. It can be an actual placeable item. Specialist abilities are kind of all over the place. Each specialist has its own things that it's particularly good at. Talking about right now, I'm using Battery. Battery is kind of like a demolitions expert, so it says. She's meant to kind of like destroy cover, kill large groups of enemies, and kind of create walls, create explosions, destroy camping spots, things like that. Her Semtex comes back quicker than other specialist abilities, but still on the slower end. You won't always have it available, so you need to kind of play smart with it. With that said, you can stick the Semtex anywhere. People, places, walls, everything. It'll do an initial explosion, then it'll explode into minor, smaller grenades, which can then explode again. If you use it right, you can throw it against a wall, hit a team around a corner, blow up a bunch of people. Her ultimate ability is the grenade launcher, just like it was in Black Ops 3. Except when it explodes, it doesn't explode into minor mini grenades, just one bounce and a super explosion. But the explosion radius is huge. So specialists really play a big role. So if you're doing competition game types, like Hardpoint, objective game types. Hardpoint, Dom, S&D, Control is a new one, Heist is a new one. You're going to really need to either A, choose your specialist wisely, or B, play with a group of people, which I highly suggest at least a group of 2 or 3, so you can kind of plan your specialists, plan your abilities better, and really coordinate as a team. Right now, in the most probably played game mode is probably Chaos TDM. Chaos TDM kind of breaks the mold of what this game's trying to be, which is like an esports competitive type of game. Chaos TDM breaks the mold in the sense that it expands the lobby size from 5-on-5 to 6-on-6, which doesn't sound like a lot, but with 5-on-5 right now, with the maps that we have and the size the maps are, it's very quick. It doesn't even feel like it's 5-on-5. It still feels like 6-on-6. But Chaos TDM puts it 6-on-6, and it's very aggressive, pushy, and all over the place. The other thing that makes it Chaos is you can have multiple of the same specialist. Well, that's kind of also a flaw in my opinion. Hopefully later down the line, I think they change Chaos TDM to be like a weekly playlist or a weekend playlist, and then make regular TDM 6v6, but with individual specialists only. You can't have duplicates. With that said, if we're looking at creative class is back to normal. Thank God. World War II butchered it for me, man. Creative class in World War II was garbage. It was so garbage that they had to change the entire thing 6 months down the road. That's nuts, right? 6 months down the road, after your game's already been launched, you had to change your entire creative class multiplayer? Nuts. Anyways, creative class is back to normal. We have 10 points. You know, weapons, attachments, they all cost points. They have perks, perk greed. We have a new wild card, actually 2 new wild cards this year. No, 3 new wild cards actually. Now that I think of it, underkill, 2 secondaries as both your weapon slots. You can have a perk gluttony. Perk gluttony means, or when you equip it, you use perk cards of the same category. So if you use perk 1 gluttony, use 3 perk 1 category perks. Same thing with 2 and 3. Obviously, it can make some interesting loadouts, but it's probably not always preferred. A lot of the perks in this game work passively. None of them actively work, and when I mean actively, I mean like stopping power. Obviously changes gun's performance. Sleight of hand obviously changes gun's performance. Commando makes it so I can super lunge. None of them actively do things like that. A lot of them are passive. Scavenger being one of them. Dexterity being one of them. Being able to mantle over things a little bit quicker. Just very minor like movement things. They do have perks like Ghost in here, but Ghost only works if you're planting a bomb, using a score streak, or running at full speed. Otherwise, it does not work. Cold-Blooded is in the game, but it does not work the same. Cold-Blooded in every other Call of Duty takes your name, turns your name not red, takes you off of thermal, and makes it so usually kill streaks will not target you at all. In this game, it does take your name off red, it does take you off thermal, but kill streaks will generally will target you, but just takes a little bit longer. Now, that could be nice if you're running between buildings or cover to cover, you'll have enough time to usually get there. But on the other hand, if you're a guy trying to take down kill streaks and you have the slowest locking on rocket launcher, which there is only one, you might die before you really actually take out the helicopter. Speaking of balance, speaking of creative class, speaking of specialists, right now in the current mindset of the game, I would like to believe that we're still not quite at the balance that I think we need. One of the things I've noticed from beta to full game, subs definitely received a nerf. In the beta, since the beta was super aggressive, you could move a lot quicker, you could slide, jump, and keep the momentum up, and you could just be all over the place very quickly, cover a lot of ground. Subs were dominating. They were strong up front. They had very to no little recoil. The XM9 was a god gun in the beta. The XM9 still competes very well, don't get me wrong, but this game is primarily geared towards ARs. Most ARs, almost at any range, have a 3-shot kill. Most subs at any range have a 4 to 5-shot kill. They do fire faster, but man, you'll see a lot of interesting gunfights that you might lose. With that said, submachine guns aren't performing in the way that I would like them to right now. They should be close to mid-range, kind of dominant, depending on the fire rate and the weapon type. But they're just not doing it, man. Especially when there's armor, and especially when there's attachments that are not equipable on all weapons. It makes the game super difficult at some points. Now, every weapon's supposed to have their kind of like shine, where they do things better than others. But it's just nothing compared to the ARs, man. The Rampart, the ICR, like the 2 starting ARs you get in the game, they are the strongest ARs I've ever felt in a very long time. ACR is super accurate, while the Rampart fires a little bit slower, kicks a little bit harder, but is a higher amount of damage. Those 2 weapons alone can 3-shot you pretty much anywhere on the map, and most ARs for that matter can 3-shot you anywhere on the map. If you're running the Rampart with high cal, you can 2-shot headshot somebody, and that time to kill is ridiculously fast. It's super hard to challenge that, especially with a gun like a submachine gun that takes 4 or 5 or 6 shots depending on the range. Yeah, like I said, I think that some machine guns need to be tweaked a little bit. Either they need to be buffed, which is not a bad thing in my opinion, or they need to tweak the AR headshot damage multiplier. If they tone that down just a little bit, I feel like it'll be a more nicely rounded out game. That also might change the meta of a lot of things, but we'll have to see that road when it comes to it. As you can tell right now, I'm using the shotgun as a primary, but shotguns, pistols, launchers are all secondaries. You can run them like primaries, but shotguns especially are secondaries. And the two shotguns you will have as of right now, they will not one-shot unless it's specifically the MOG 12 with Long Barrel 1 and Long Barrel 2. In this gameplay that you're watching currently, I'm actually playing hardcore, and that is the reason why I am utterly destroying kids with this shotgun. And you can see the ridiculous range it has, but it makes it super difficult to follow up in core because you only have 4 shots, and it takes 2 shots to kill unless they're previously damaged. With that said, I think the MOG also needs to be changed, so it has at least 6 shots in the chamber, so that's 3 potential kills, versus if you have Long Barrel and Long Barrel 2, that's 6 potential kills total. I would like to see a change in rocket launchers also. Either one kind of geared like a Stinger missile and the other kind of geared like an RPG. Maybe we'll see more down the line. I don't know. As of right now, sniper rifles are very strong only because they are easily one-shottable, and that is the highest kill in the game. If they are lucky enough and can easily just scope you or get a good sightline on you or, God forbid, quick scope you, it's over. You will not be able to stop that. Another thing I would like to look at again is the specialists. Specialists are nice. They provide a lot of information. They lock down areas. They can close zones. They can break hard points. They can break enemy team formation. They can actually break spawns depending on the specialists. With that said, I think specialists are the most unbalanced thing in the entire game. If you're looking at it from a gameplay perspective, like a competitive perspective, oh, it's dope because you're using skills and abilities and you're really timing things out, and it really works out if you have a coordinated team. But if you're playing with a bunch of randoms and possibly a bunch of garbage depending on your lobby, it makes it super difficult to coordinate things, especially if you find a guy with a torque barricade and the heat shield. Torque barricade is the razor wire. You cannot run through it. It will kill you before you make it out on the other side, which is ridiculous. And then to destroy the torque razor wire, you have to either A, sacrifice an entire rocket to it, or B, shoot, I don't know, 2 full, 3 full clips into it to destroy a razor wire. And that amount of time you're spending there shooting at a razor wire is you probably going to die before it actually gets destroyed. Thinking in that mindset where people are camping and setting up shop and making it super difficult to do some things, having your 1 or 2 offensive special abilities only come back maybe once every 2 minutes or once every 10 minutes, depending on how well you're doing and your score, is super aggravating. It's so aggravating when people lock down a certain area and you have to wait for this one grenade to come back so you can open up a lane. Granted, I guess you could change your creator class a little bit and have a rocket launcher in every class, but a rocket launcher is not really viable in every situation. With that said, there are specialist abilities that are completely uncounterable. One being Recon. Recon is a cool idea on paper, but probably one of the most aggravating concepts in game. His specialist ability is a sensor dart. He shoots a dart against the wall. It creates like a portable radar effect, like in Modern Warfare 3. It pulses, I think, for like 30 straight seconds, like longer than a UAV in for that area. It can be destroyed if they find it and they have the engineer perk on. But overall, if you're playing objective game types, you shoot that thing on a domination B, you can see where they're basically holding up for right then and there. His ultimate ability is Vision Pulse. Think of Black Ops 3 Vision Pulse, where it sends out the wave and you can see everyone through the map like one good time, and it only worked for you. Yeah, think of that, except it's team-wide, and it sends the wave 4 times through the map. Now, multiply that in Chaos TDM, where you can have up to 3 of the same specialist. That's a good, I don't know, 40, 50 seconds of complete wall hacking ridiculousness in a game where you can get 2-shot headshotted. It's a little over the top, a little ridiculous. I would really like to see either some counters with equipment, with perks, with some certain particular things. I don't know if that'll ever happen. It's aggravating. I get it. Maybe they'll add things down the line like World War II. Maybe they won't. We'll just have to see. There's a couple of special pieces of equipment which also make things really difficult. One being the body armor. If you run body armor, it's kind of like a Juggernaut. Juggernaut was a wrong thing to have. It was supposed to help new players, survive a little bit and eat some damage and maybe get a kill off it. It does the exact same thing in this. They eat more damage and they can clutch a kill. Granted, once it's depleted, it will not come back. But that extra 2 or 3 bullets to be hitting somebody is between life and death for you. And that's super aggravating. One of the attachments that can counter it is FMJ. Cool, nice, great. Goes right through body armor. But because of how they pre-balance the game, not every weapon in the game is allowed to have FMJ on it. So there are some weapons that are just straight at a disadvantage. Annoying. Acoustic sensor is another piece of equipment that's super aggravating to me. Think of it kind of like a souped up version of Sixth Sense from Black Ops 3. Sixth Sense before used to shoot for a direction of where the enemy is coming in the 4 corners of your minimap. Well, that's multiplied by a radial eighth in this game. It'll give you a direction in northwest, northeast, east, southeast, southwest, west, northwest. And it makes it super difficult to, if you're not running it, to know if someone's around the corner. And if they are running it, they'll jump the corner and instantly give you. Now there's a perk that decreases the effectiveness of it, but it's still effective enough where they can get the jump on you every single time. With that said, if you're running a team, you take your time, you're not rushing, you're not blindly running into things, and you're thinking ahead, you can make good decisions and good plays. It can be fun, but I've also had a very aggravating time and a very aggravating experience. This game is definitely better than World War II, but not quite my perfect fall in love Call of Duty. I will be playing it. I do enjoy it. I enjoy the other game modes. You'll see more gameplay from me. But if you're not a hardcore fan, this might not be the best game to devote your time to. One quick side note, they said they were going to be releasing a big patch to help instability and balances this week. We'll see what that does. I don't know. I hope you guys enjoyed the gameplay. I hope you guys enjoy my review. As for now, this is your boy Hellraider, signing off.